Hello everyone, this is the Peggy Mercer Writing Channel, my YouTube writing channel, and I welcome you today. It is Monday. We are already at May the 6th, and thank the Lord for that. I can look forward to a really great summer, and you can too, and I know that the good Lord's going to bless us all. When I was on the YouTube writing channel on Friday, and the video before that, I was talking about songwriting. Forgive my looks today, law me. I have been outside working in the roses some, and I came in and I'm telling you that I was sweated down. I took a quick shower, and of course my cowlick won't do what it's supposed to do, and y'all are just gonna have to overlook that cowlick today. That cowlick is something I got from my daddy, Ted Mercer. And that's about the only thing I got from him, other than a great children's book. You see in my book, There Come a Soldier, which is sold out at Chronicle Books. Isn't that sweet? I hope you read that book. Do have some songwriting ideas to share with you today, and we're going to wrap up the songwriting video today. We'll wrap that up and move back into writing your novels again. We'll get on back into that, but we are going to tie up the songwriting session today, and I know you're excited. I want to shout out hello to my good buddy and one of John's best friends that he played music with, Dave Yoakum. I think that's the way you pronounce his last name. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. Dave is sending me a mighty fine desk microphone that'll make my speaking sound so much better on this thing. I really, really appreciate it. I love my musician friends. I truly, it's a brotherhood and a sisterhood. My writing group, I love my writing friends. I don't know what I'd do without my writing friends and those who support me. Before I go any further, I do want to say a big, big happy anniversary to John and Linda Omler out in Arizona. They are big readers of mine. They're big supporters of mine. They have been reading my books for years, and I can assure you that Mr. John Omler, who tries to play the banjo some, he's going to comment to me. He treats me kind of like a daughter, and he's going to tell me some things that maybe my daddy might say, and I will say he's always right. John, I love you and Linda so much. And she sends me these absolutely gorgeous handmade cards that I save them all and just show them off to people. But happy anniversary and happy birthday. He had a birthday right before they had their anniversary a few days ago, and I appreciate that. I do have friends that are into songwriting. I appreciate all of you who have gotten into songwriting. I have a real good friend, Walter Ray, that has a bunch of songs fixing to be recorded by a gospel group called the Resurrection Quartet, and that's going to be fun. Walter Ray is a lifelong friend of mine from here, and he's a wonderful singer in his own right, and he's a wonderful writer. And I'm going to tell you that he writes from the heart, and that is what I tell my songwriters that I work with. You have to bleed. If you write a song or a novel, you've got to tear that out of yourself. You've got to dig deep and write how you truly feel. I'm one of the first writers to say over and over again, when you write a song, write the truth about it. You have to write your truth. Don't worry about what your mama's going to think. Don't worry about what your daddy's going to think. Don't worry about what your husband or your wife might think. Let me tell you what you've got to do. You have to write from deep inside yourself. Look inside yourself. You write from the heart, and that song is going to speak to somebody somewhere. And talking about writing from the heart, as you all know who have been with me on this YouTube journey, a song that I wrote called House Beside the Road has now been cut. All the instruments have been put to it, and it will drop very soon. They're gonna let me know. They're working on the cover right now, and that song is being performed. It'll be on radio worldwide, and it is performed by that beautiful singer on the West Coast, Lori Hardman. I I love Lori Hardman. I can tell you one thing, she has got an amazing angelic voice, and I just can't wait to hear my song. They are working on a second song that I wrote called Stories. They don't write stories like this anymore about my grandmother and granddaddy, and I can tell you that that came out of my soul. I was out in the graveyard one day cleaning off the graves and putting some flowers on my mother's and daddy's grave, and cleaning up my grandmother and granddaddy's grave. And I stood there and I looked back at that grave where my beautiful grandmother, who could sing like a bird and play the piano, and my granddaddy was at rest on that hill there where the wind blows through those trees. And I thought, they don't write stories like that anymore. And that was a song. I'm kind of like some songwriters. I always start with a hook. I don't start with writing out music, because I don't write music. Now, John Richards, my partner, I will tell you that he is wonderful with the music. I was gonna mention to you guys what the Nashville numbering system is all about. The NNS. This is the system that the musicians use when they go into a professional studio in Nashville and record your song. And so when you write your lyrics, and they coming from the heart now, you write like you talk. At the same time, you don't write if you talk too southern. See, I live south of Macon. I like to say I live south of the T-line. That separates the way that we talk and the way the Yankees talk and the way people in Italy might talk, and so on and so forth. But now, when you're writing a song, or you're writing your poetry, or you're writing your novel, you remember that you want these people in another country. I want people in France, and one of my books was in something called Cow Parade. I mentioned that the other day, in France. And when I write, I want to make sure that I'm not too colloquial heavy, and I'm not too text heavy, because I want these people to understand what I mean. If I say I'm fixing to go over here where they're making cane syrup, almost nobody in the world is going to understand that, but us Southerners would understand it right off the bat. Just like that, we know exactly, because we've been to many cane syrup makings down here in the South. And so there's a lot of stories that I can tell, and a lot of songs that I can write. And I want to make sure that the universal themes of love, losing someone, getting higher, falling in love, keeping the one we love, play that funky music. I want to make sure that this is a theme that people can understand. I don't want to write, if I write poetry or if I write novels, I don't want to write something that's so weird and nothing matches, and it's like bullets hitting the side of a barn or something. It's just pure clatter if people can't understand it. So when you're writing a song, you might do like me. I start off with the chorus. I get that hook. And many songwriters, I would almost say most songwriters, they start with that hook. Now, if they don't know music, then they get with a musician, or what we call a co-writer, which is, I've always said, two heads are better than one. John and I write a lot of songs together. I wrote the songs that are right now being recorded out on the West Coast, and John put the music to those songs. We worked out that melody. I kind of had it in my mind, but John sat down with his guitar and he put the chords and the chord progressions that would go with that song. talking about the writing of the song, I know that I'm not going to have but 11 syllables per line, or that's a pretty strict rule. You don't want to go more than that. You don't want to have 15 syllables on one line. If I say today, that's 2 syllables. If I say majestic, the word majestic, that's 3 syllables in that. So that takes care of 3 syllables in that line of 11. That leaves me, what, 9 syllables, 8 syllables that I'm going to be left to come up with. So keep in mind that you're only going to have 11 syllables on that line of lyrics. Now, I said the other day that we like rhyming in songs, especially in country music, especially in music. We like rhymes. We like for the rhymes to be pretty perfect. Now, we can use near rhymes. And so we get our song together. We're going to have 4 lines in this stanza, and we're going to call this a verse. And then we're going to have 4 lines in the next stanza. We're going to call that a verse, okay? So that's 2 verses right there. Then we're going to write a chorus. We're going to write a bridge. The bridge comes after the chorus. The chorus doesn't have to be 4 lines. It can be 6 lines or even 2 lines. It can be different, but the choruses need to be formatted consistently. And so you've got a consistent song. One thing you can do, go to the internet and look up lyrics for Kenny Chesney's song that he wrote. Go to the internet and look up lyrics for some of the stuff that Loretta Lynn sang, some of the stuff that Patsy Cline sang, some of the stuff that Johnny Cash wrote, and kind of study over those lyrics. Now, you're not going to copy those lyrics. You know people don't copy. If you copy me, I'll sue you, okay? If I copy somebody else, they'll sue me. So we don't want to get in a lawsuit, and you don't want to copy anybody. You want to come up with your own idea. A lot of times, something you hear somebody say might give you an idea for a song. You might say, oh, I love what she just said. I'm going to write that up in a song. Well, go ahead and have at it. But you make sure that you're original in those verses and lyrics. Now, when you get the music put to this song, make sure that this music or this song that you've created is a certain number of minutes. If it's going to be hopefully played on the radio, it can only be a certain number of minutes long. It can't just go on and on forever. Now, if it's a certain kind of music, if you've ever been put on hold when you've called a company, I was put on hold the other day trying to straighten out my oldest son's Medicare health insurance, his Advantage plan. I was put on hold with some people in another country. Well, music came on, and I'll tell you, if I didn't get 4 concerts in a row, I felt like I was listening to a symphony. Then somebody else came on playing the piano. I was sick of all of it before I got through with it because the music just never ended and went on and on. Now, if we write a song, we're writing a story in music, okay? And that story has to speak to me. It's got to speak to me. It can't have wasted words. It can't use words that are used to death. The word that, the most used word in the English language, in writing books, in writing stories, poetry, in writing songs. Let's strike every that we come to. You got that? Okay. Now, if you think you've got a really good song, the next thing you've got to do is you've got to demo that song. If you don't sing, find somebody that does. You've got to catch that song on a tape. You've got to put a disc in the computer and you've got to catch that song. There are a lot of programs on the internet that you can pull up and open up and maybe download or upload onto your computer, and they are recording programs where Garage Band. There are other programs that you can load on your computer that will help you record your songs. Isn't that going to be fun? And once you get the song recorded, you need to take that song to Nashville, Tennessee, the music city of the world, as well as out in Hollywood and on the West Coast, where they do a lot of beautiful music. And you want to get your song recorded by somebody real good. Now, these studios where these really good producers work, and Taylor Swift has a producer, Keith Urban has a producer, Jason Aldean, they all have a producer, and I've worked some at that studio. Now, let me tell you something. You might be saying, I'm going to have Jason Aldean sing my new song. Jason Aldean may never hear that song. If it can't get by the studio producer, it's not going to get to Jason Aldean unless he happens to just hear it by accident, because you're sitting on River Street in Savannah and he's down there playing a gig and he goes down there and hears you singing it. I have heard of really great singers walking by people playing music on the street and saying, I've got to cover that song, and the rest is history. That doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. So you get your guitar out and go play your music, okay? Now, you want to get a good demo of this song. That doesn't mean that you want a full-blown studio production. You don't have to have that. And when you get that demo, what are you going to do with it? Well, somebody somewhere maybe is going to hear that song. One of the first things you need to do is you need to have that song published in somebody's publishing catalog. Now, I have a publishing company through BMI. The company that's cutting my songs out on the West Coast, they have their own publishing company, so we're going to split the publishing on that. The publisher makes money on the song, the singer makes money, the writer, if it's one writer, that writer owns 100% of the writing rights to that song. The person who composes or makes up or creates the music for that song owns 100% of the music. If there's two writers, they own 50% of the music apiece. If a person changes one word in a song, that's not his song. He's got to change more than that to have a part in that song. So you want to know all this stuff, and there's no way to learn it all. When you get older, you need to take a little bit of a shortcut, and that's what this YouTube writing video is all about. I urge you to subscribe and hit that notification bell over there so that the next time I talk writing and it's interesting to you and you want to know and you need to know what I'm talking about, you'll get a little ding ding, a little message that says I've got a video I just uploaded. This video on songwriting is going to wrap up right now by me telling you this. When you go into a studio in Nashville, Tennessee, and I've set up a lot of studio productions, and I have heard on them, although all the musicians that I have ever hired on my productions are total pros, and I've had some of the best guitarists, John Richards, I've had some of the best fiddle players, Aaron Till, I've had some of the best musicians in the world of music playing on my music productions, and those of people that want to go cut their records in Nashville. And so it's been a lot of fun over the years. They come in and they'll listen to the song, and then they'll take that Nashville numbering system and they'll work out their notes. And everybody that's a professional in Nashville goes by that Nashville numbering system. And so what you do is you want to go in there with a song that's charted on a piece of paper. You write, this is going to be a C, or this is going to be an E, or a D, or a F flat, or a B flat. Heaven forbid all those flats. But anyway, you'll go in there like that, and then these musicians will take that Nashville numbering system, 1, 2, 3, 4. They will take that, and if you want to look that up on the internet, please do so. It's just fascinating how they work with music. But these professional musicians, I'll tell you, I'm just in awe of John Richards and the way he plays the guitar and how much knowledge is in his head. You know, he started playing the guitar when he was a little bitty boy. His daddy was a wonderful musician, had a great band in Nashville, and could have gotten into the Grand Ole Opry, was invited at one time. Now, let me finish telling you about the songwriting. You get your demo, and then what you've got to do is you have to pitch that demo. Who do you pitch it to? You find somebody really good like me that's connected. It's all about connections. After you've written your great song, you've got to have connections. The connections are the hardest thing in the world to get. You have to know what you're doing to get connections. You don't want to send this song out blindly. It actually is not going to be stolen because everybody's writing their own songs. Trust me, nobody wants your work. They're not going to steal your work. They've got 50 just like it or similar, whatever. So nobody that's a real professional is going to copy you knowingly or steal your song. Join ASCAP, join BMI, join the Harry Fox. One of these mechanical rights agencies is going to protect you. Once you join as an artist or a songwriter, you register your song with them. Then if somebody comes in and says, I'd like to cover that song, I'd like to do that song, I love that song, I'd like to cover that song, then you go to the U.S. Copyright Office and you register that song with the U.S. Copyright Office. But you really don't have to do the copyright thing until you get somebody interested in cutting the song, because trust me, this is a bunch of real good people in music and they're not going to steal your song. It has happened. It has happened in everything anybody's ever created, but it's very rare that it happens. So that is a comfort to all of us. Now, if you need help with your songwriting, I'm not doing a ton of songwriting editing, but I will take your song and tell you exactly what's wrong with it and what to do to shape it up and how to get it formatted. And then I'll tell you where to go to get it cut and how to do that. And I'll find somebody to cut it if you'd like me to. It will cost you $1 million and 40 bags of Friskies. That is my fee. Not quite, but you contact me if you need me. You can get me on Facebook, and I'll tell you where to send your songs. Send them to me. I'll tell you exactly what to do with the song. I've taught a lot of young people to write songs. Some of them are singing up there and have label deals, and this is a lot of fun to watch young people go and chase their dream. This is the end of this video about songwriting. Now, if you want to hear more about songwriting, you have specific questions, ask me in the comments or send me a message and I'll get back with you, okay? Now, on our next video, I do want to tell you that I'm going to drop back to novel writing, because I have been asked by a lot of writers about writing for children and writing for different genres. Stephen King writes horror, and he's the greatest horror writer, I guess, in the whole wide world. I have friends that write paranormal. I have friends that write nothing but romantic suspense. And a bunch of wonderful girls out there doing that. And I will tell you that I'm going to start talking about the different categories that you might be wanting to write for. I have some other projects on the burner. I'm writing, I'm trying to finish my prayer book right now, and then I'm going on. I have a novel and I have a comedy started. And then I'll, of course, have more poetry, because as you know, I am considered a best-selling American poet. I'm real proud of that. Poetry was my first love, and I totally plan to do a video on how to write great poetry. I love poetry. I don't like weird poetry where people just throw words in there like bullets on the side of a barn, or somebody beating on the side of a barn with a boat paddle or something, just clatter. I want that poem to mean something to me, the great poets of throughout history, they wrote meaningful poems, and so that's just what I like. And you can do anything you want, I think, and just have your own style. But I can teach you how to write great writing, not just mediocre writing. I'm not interested in mediocre writing. I'm interested in great writing. Now, I will see you guys on Friday. And when we get to Friday, we're going to start talking about writing children's books. And I have so many people come to me and say, I've written a children's book. And I see the children's book. And it's just like Puss in Boots or something. It's just like some of the other children's books I've ever seen. They've copied it. You can't do that. And so we'll talk about that on Friday. Thank you for joining me. Now you go to that like button. Bye-bye.